What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another class at the Burn Down Academy. I'm Justin.
I'm Eric.
Today's class, we're going to teach you how to smoke a cigar.
Class is in session. Stay tuned because it's the Burn Down Academy.
What's going on, everybody? This is the Burn Down Academy. Today's class, we're going to teach you how to smoke a cigar.
How the heck do you smoke this thing? What is this thing?
So we're going to go over all the different steps. We're going to show you how to select a cigar, how to make sure it's fresh, how to cut it, how to light it, how to draw on it. So the first thing you want to do when you select a cigar in a humidor is you want to make sure the cigar is fresh. Okay?
Right.
So there's a couple different ways to do that. First one is to feel it. What are you feeling for when you feel a cigar?
What am I feeling for? I'm feeling that the cigar is firm. I don't want this cigar to be squishy. I don't want it to be going like this. And I don't want the cigar to be too hard where I feel like it's going to break. I mean, just too dry. I want it just right in the middle of the cigar.
Just a little bit of give to it. It should kind of spring back into your fingers.
A cool trick Justin taught me is that if you roll a cigar in your ear, you can kind of hear it crack a little bit. If you hear it cracking a lot, typically not a good sign. You want it just a little bit, just means the cigar is moist and it's ready to be smoked.
If you hear too much cracking, it's too dry. If you don't hear any cracking, it's too moist. You want a little bit of cracking. So when you're rolling it, don't press too hard. Just give it a little squeeze, a little roll. You hear a little bit of cracking.
So the next part of your cigar, what you want to do in your checklist, is you want to smell the cigar. Now, when you have your cigar, Justin, what are you smelling?
So you want to smell the wrapper, and then you want to smell the fillers. So the wrapper is obviously what the cigar is wrapped in, the outer shell. And the fillers are from the foot on the inside of the cigar.
Now you might have a cigar like this where it's tapered at the bottom, so you won't be able to smell right here. But obviously this whole cigar is a cigar wrapper, so you can just smell the wrapper and you can get a sense for it. Once you cut the cap, you can smell the top of the cigar and kind of get a feel where you're going to get into.
One note, a don't for when you're smelling a cigar, don't shove it up your nose, don't stick it all the way onto your skin. Just hold it away from your nose, smell a little bit. What you could do is go from each nostril, so you can close one, smell, close the other one, smell, because your nostrils have different senses.
If you're in a humidor, if you're at a lounge and you don't want that cigar, someone doesn't want this cigar that just touched your face, touched anything in your body. So just be mindful of where you're putting it.
And the next step is to cut it. So there's a couple different ways to cut it, and we've done a class on this already. So if you're interested in finding all the different ways to cut a cigar, check it out. The link is in the description. We're just going to cut it regular, and we'll be right back. So now you got your cigar cut, you want to do what's called a cold draw. This is essentially puffing on the cigar or drawing on the cigar when the cigar isn't lit. Quote unquote, the cigar is cold.
Now you might notice when you're doing the cold draw, you'll have some subtle different flavors when you're pulling it back from the cold draw. Now when you light it up, it's going to be different. So if you're worried about two different flavors when you're lighting up a cigar, don't worry, because that's usually normal. Now you have your cigar cut. Now obviously the next step is to light your cigar. So now, if you want to see how to light a cigar, click the link below and see how to light a cigar in video 2.
So now that you got your cigar lit, one thing you can do is what's called a purge. A purge is essentially blowing smoke out the cigar. So you're lightly blowing into the cigar. And what this is going to do is it's going to clear out any of those harsh flavors that you get when you first lit the cigar. We're going to talk about how to properly puff on a cigar.
The best way to gauge if you have a good cigar or not is first taking a puff of the cigar, like so.
And what you want to do is imagine that you're drinking water through a straw. When you drink water through a straw, you're pulling the water into your mouth and then you're swallowing the liquid. With a cigar, the same thing, you pull the smoke into your mouth, except you don't swallow. You blow the smoke out. So, rule number 1, don't inhale.
Don't do it. Don't inhale that cigar. Now to tell if you have a good cigar or not is how much smoke you can feel when you pull on the cigar. If you have a lot of smoke in your mouth, it usually means it's a good cigar. If you're struggling a little bit or you're not getting any kind of smoke, you might have to play around with it and loosen up the tobacco a little bit. How can you do that? Justin's going to tell you.
So you could loosen up this tobacco with what's called a cigar poker. It's a long skewer and it just slides into the top or the foot of the cigar. Preferably just go to the top because the foot is already lit. And that's going to loosen up some of the tobaccos. Another thing you can do is if you're not getting what's called the draw, which is pulling the smoke into your mouth, if it's easy, it's a light draw. If it's too hard, it's a tight draw. One thing you could do is just check the foot. Make sure that you got a even burn. Make sure it's lit. If you're not getting a good draw, it may not be lit all the way. Pick up your lighter or a match and finish it off.
Now, if you don't have a skewer, or if you think your burn is perfect, sometimes it's easy as just taking your index finger and your thumb and kind of just squeezing the top of the cigar. Getting it loose a little bit. Sometimes that loosens up the tobacco. You'll be good to go. So now when you're trying to taste the flavors of a cigar, the first thing you want to do is be in a quiet location, preferably by yourself, somewhere where you can concentrate. If you're in a loud environment like at a coffee shop or in a party, you're not going to really notice what you're smoking. So what we recommend is pulling up a flavor wheel. And now what you can do, how to find that, is just Google flavor wheel, and has all different kinds of variations of flavor of a cigar. Also, you want to take notes on maybe writing it down, maybe on your phone or with a pen and pad. Now, Justin, how do you pick up notes on a cigar?
So what you want to do is when you draw on the cigar, you want to pull the smoke into your mouth, let it sit for a second, blow the smoke out, and then lick your lips, swirl your tongue around your mouth. Try to pick up different flavors that you might be getting in the cigar. Now, what you might see me do, you might see us do, is we do a couple of draws to try to get the smoke built up. Try to get that cherry nice and hot so that we can get a nice big draw.
Cigars, when you're trying to taste the flavors, will change from a third. First third, second third, and a third third. Now, if you have a cigar that's changing every third, that's a real good cigar. If you have a cigar that's one flavor throughout the whole cigar, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad cigar. That's just how the cigar is made. So sometimes you run into an occasion where your cigar goes out on you. Don't be alarmed. It's okay. All you gotta do, get your lighter, and touch it back up. You'll be good as new.
So now you got your cigar cut, you got your cigar lit. All there is to do is sit back and enjoy.
Class is adjourned.